There's a strange comfort in thinking our world is built on steady ground, that what we know today will hold tomorrow. But those of us in this room or listening here may just know better. The oil and gas industry has never been about certainty. It's about navigating shifting tectonics, both beneath the surface and across the global stage. While the unfamiliar can unsettle some, it sharpens the edge for some of us. The question is not whether change will come, but whether we'll be prepared when it does. I'm Mark Roach, and this is FutureWise Energy. Domestically, we're seeing a recalibration long overdue. The U.S. upstream sector has hit a critical juncture, with rig counts slipping to low levels that we haven't seen in quite a while, and drilling permits drying up. These aren't the death tolls of an industry, but rather signals of its evolution. Diamondback Energy, for example, acknowledged that what many have suspected for months, that U.S. onshore production may have reached its peak. It's not a headline designed to comfort us, but it's one we need to face. Efficiency and strategic planning have overtaken brute force. It's no longer a race to drill, it's a test of discipline and intentional growth. Even so, production is holding steady, just shy of 13 million barrels per day. That's resilience in action, and it's thanks to operators who are playing smarter and focusing on what works. Shell's decision to delay new Gulf of Mexico or Gulf of America developments to late 2025 speaks volumes about caution and capital discipline under today's market constraints. Not a lack of capability, but an adjustment in strategy. Globally, the landscape continues to shift in ways that demand our attention. OPEC Plus added another 411,000 barrels per day in the market in June, while WTI hovers around $63 a barrel and Brent saw a modest recovery to $65.99. That's the EIA's downgraded forecast for Brent, and it paints a future of a more nuanced picture. Some upticks in prices, those won't rewrite the structural realities driving these markets. And just as important as price charts are, the careful moves made by nations like Brazil, where Petrobras has reignited drilling in the Bahia Basin and unlocked a pre-salt discovery in the Santos Basin. Then there's Asia Pacific. 100 exploration blocks are being offered across emerging energy corridors in Pakistan, Vietnam, and Brunei. These are opportunities that our predecessors might have overlooked in favor of tried and true basins. But times are changing. Energy security and the global influence are increasingly tied to regions willing to welcome investment, regardless of past reputations. Meanwhile, quietly but unmistakably, Saudi Arabia is shaping a future in ways that we can't ignore. It's not just their ability to pump oil at $3 to $4 a barrel that gives them the upper hand. Aramco's dominance is funding what can only be described as a reimagining of Saudi identity on a global scale. Vision 2030 and the $500 billion NEOM megacity represent far more than ambitious infrastructure projects. They're a deliberate play to entrench Saudi influence across sectors that will define the next century. Coupled with the investments in U.S. infrastructure and technology, this isn't merely a nation exporting oil, it's one exporting power. If you think influence is limited to energy deals, think again. Qatar's flashy proposal to gift a $400 million luxury jet positioned as a temporary Air Force One for one administration and a museum piece for a future library is a symbolic reminder of the Gulf's knack for weaponizing soft power. It's not about the plane itself, it's about signaling access, alignment, and leverage. At home, our challenges are no less consequential, Ballooning debt loads, the rising cost of labor and materials, the thinning margins are testing U.S. operators. More concerning is the increasing risk of distressed assets being managed by those without the skill, expertise, or moral obligation to maintain the standards this industry and our communities require. This isn't fear-mongering, it's a sober acknowledgement that our safety, environmental integrity, and community trust hang in the balance when weak links give way. Here's the truth. The ground beneath us is never as stable as it seems. Global power is being renegotiated every day, often in rooms we're not invited into. What does this mean for us? It means leaning harder into the transparency that we're lucky to have today and using it as the ultimate equalizer. It means refusing to rest on local norms or old habits, even when they feel safe. This isn't the time to cling to certainty. It's the time to remain adaptive, skeptical, and bold. We rebuff the idea that distant forces decide the future alone. Transparency has pulled back the curtain, giving us ample room to act if we're smart enough and in tune. And for those of us that are willing to lean into the challenge, the shift in dynamics isn't a threat, it's an opportunity. This industry wasn't built by followers. It was built by those unafraid to make the hard calls, to look beyond the immediate circles, and face complexity head on. The tectonic plates of energy are shifting, and we can all feel the tremors. What defines us is whether we rise to the occasion. I'm Mark Roach, and this is Future Wise Energy. Pay attention, the game is shifting, and the winners will be those unafraid to keep up.